Pounders, we're back. And today we're drafting a $50 chow chow doggy. And we might be doing two, depending on how many likes you fellas drop on the video. And before we jump into it, I do want to just take a little gander at the DeAndre Hopkins potential, right? Where do we think his worst landing spot is? How would that affect his ADP? Where do we think his best landing spot is? And how would that change his ADP? And really, he doesn't have too many terrible landing spots. That's going to put him behind Keenan Allen, in my opinion. We do see Judy make the jump over him. I think this is going to change like very, very quickly. I wouldn't be surprised if Judy actually jumps in front of Mike Williams. But D-Hop, if this guy goes to KC, if he goes to Buffalo, you have to put him ahead of DK. In my opinion, he's got to go ahead of DK at a minimum. Maybe some of these running backs as well. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like 15 spots, just about 14 spots. So it's not ridiculous. So the first day the news came out that he was released, people were selecting him in the 20s. It's like, okay, well, where are we selecting him and where do we think he's going to go at, right? Because we're trying to get that value in between. So if we think that he's going to be around pick 30, let's say, around DK, maybe we select him at the 36, 37 range and we're getting that 6-7 picks of value. I like getting him at 37 plus right now, just because it's a speculative ad on a potential rising player that really doesn't have the many bad landing spots. He's made it well known he wants to play for a good quarterback and a team with a good defense. So yeah, he wants to win. He wants to win. So there's a lot of good landing spots. KC obviously needs a number 1 wide receiver. You have Buffalo that needs a number 2 receiver. Sorry, Gabe Davis truthers. This will hurt. But where Gabe Davis is going, I don't think it kills him because he still has that single game spike potential, which is why you're paying for him anyways. Quick look at that as well, where Gabe's going. If D-Hop joins the team, I'm probably putting Dotson ahead of him. I'm putting Cooks ahead of him. So yeah, he's going to fall, in my opinion, probably to this range. But the Gabe Davis truthers will, they'll keep that ADP relatively the same. Yeah, so I think that's about where he would go is around 30, 32. And it would take a little bit to get there. So does this matter? In what tournaments does it matter the most? And in my opinion, when news breaks like this, you want to get the value on it on Best Ball Mania, because that's the tournament that takes months to fill. That's where, these ADPs aren't going to change overnight. And you already see him selected at like pick 37 to 41 pretty religiously right now. And I tried jumping in a couple of BBMs with that news, and other people are on the news and they're just at the right draft position and they get them before you, and that happens. But drafting around news is pretty much what we're doing right now for BBM. ER7, welcome to the live stream. Fancy Dysfunctional. What's going on, fellas? Yeah, ER7 swinging the wrench, just like Ben in the live chat. We need someone to keep the rioters under control in the chat. So let's actually go over the Chow Chow in the advance rates for it. So it's 20% full, 5,500 entrant tournament, 50K to first, 25K to second. So it's nice prize pool. And I believe it's 2 out of 12 for the first round. Let's take a peek. I believe it's 2 out of 12 advance. 12-person group, 2 advance to round 2, which is week 15. It's an 8-person group, 2 advance out of 8 to round 16, 8-person group again, 2 advance to week 17. And it is a 58-person tournament at that point. And I think it's around 500. Yeah, 555 is the minimum. So you're playing against another 57 teams for 50K to first, 25K to second. And hopefully we'll be able to push one of these through. I think I'm going to do 4 of these, but I don't see a real need to push it to the max entry of 15. with only 5,500 entrants. So let's pop right in. Drop a like on the video if you haven't already. We need the influencer 101, and I believe that takes 10 likes to get it. We're waiting on 2 peeps. Waiting on 1 person. We'll see if anyone from the pound jumped in here with us. Bunch of sickos. Oh, yeah, we definitely didn't hit 10 likes yet in the video. We're at pick 13, I think. Oh, we did. You guys are the best. Didn't work. All right, we're 11. I'd rather 11 than 12, so it's cool. That's cool. Short Gamer TV, Nate's, ER7, Brian. You guys are all on the front end of the board. At least we get that. At least we get that little bit of luck. ER7 says, I think D-Hop is going to milk his signing. I mean, that's where it's up in the air, right? Like KC, unless they restructure, like they can't pay him. The Bills can't pay him without restructuring contracts. So we'll see what happens there. But if he wants money, he might end up in like New England, which is probably one of his worst landing spots, New England or Atlanta. But yeah, that would crush Drake London. And it doesn't really hurt anyone on the Patriots. They're already going so late. Maybe it hurts Juju, but if you're drafting Juju at ADP, not my favorite. Fast Willie gets the 101. We'll see if he goes Chase first. He goes with the JJ selection. If you guys aren't already in our Discord, it's in the description. And it's just basically a fantasy football playground with just loads of information. We have our draft guide on there, which is free to subscribers. And that was when it was posted when BBM and the schedule opened. So it was at 6% full. I believe BBM's around 12% full now. We're going to be doing another update to that draft guide at 25%. I can already tell you, when you join the live streams, we're constantly going over the changes. So can't just go by the guide, because I would tell you I have Lamb ahead of Adams right now. I might even push Garrett Wilson ahead of Adams right now. That's where I'm at with those players. CMC goes at 3, Tyreek Hill at 4, which I like. We'll see if we can get D-Hop with this pick 38. I think that's going to be the goal. Pick 38 for D-Hop. Kelsey at 6, Bijan at 7. Very standard. Very, very standard. AJ Brown ahead of Diggs, which I agree. When it comes to cash games, I'd rather AJ Brown. I think he has a higher spike potential. Single game spike potential. Diggs probably a little more consistent. We'll go Lamb here. I'm cool with one of these. I mean, I'm cool with Adams too, but maybe with the correlation with Lamb and Detroit, I would go Amon-Ra first. So getting one of these guys. We get our pick. Which one's more? Let's go with the correlation for week 17. I think that's pretty easy. To do. Detroit versus Dallas, week 17 dome game. Come on. Can that game fail? You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm loving Dallas's playoff schedule too. So this allows us to go Goff. This allows us to go Dak. It gives us options as well. See Taylor go at 16 to the Dig squad. Can't be mad at that. Mahomes went at 13. So he's dragging players. I don't think you have to drag players as much. If you're only doing one of these, right, and you're taking a shot and you want Mahomes on your team, go ahead. But when I think about like BBM and like pulling players across the draft board to get like just unique combinations, I don't think you have to do that in a tournament that's only 5,500 people deep and with a finals of 58 people. I think that is a force if you're doing that consistently. See Pollard go at 21 to the Hill team for ER7. That's nice. Barkley falls to 20. See Kelsey squad. I think this is right. Like you have to reach up. You have to get a receiver. He also gets the correlation, which is nice for week 17. Super nice. See Jamar Chase, Olave. Like I don't mind this sort of reach for correlation for week 17, but just a random reach on Mahomes. Sort of odd. Plus receivers were off the board. So I think Smith, Olave, and T. Higgins, you can kind of put them all in the same range, in the same tier. DK at 27, see Hurts go at 26 to Brian. I love that. Okay, a couple teams going double elite RB starts. See Brees Hall go at 30. ER7. I love Dak. All right, so we might be fighting over someone. We'll see. Mark Andrews at 32. That sounds correct. I like Mark Andrews. I like Lamar in this range too. It gets muddy. In this range. This guy reached on Mahomes. So I'm interested to see what he does in between us. It seems like he's going to be a dark horse this whole draft. Pulling Mahomes to 13. Should be fun. See Debo go off the board. This is where champions are made. Did want Ridley there, but I'm not too mad. You can go elite running back followed by a receiver. We can go Lamar, but I'd rather have some Miami if I'm going Lamar. All right. We're just going to get D-Hop here. I don't think there's a big difference if I get him here or at 38. And basically, I'm between Najee and Christian Watson. So, cool with either or. Those Judy, like, I don't mind that either. Green Bay plays Minnesota. I believe that's a dome game as well. All right. 4 wide receiver star, fellas. Oh, let's go. Oh, Lamar almost makes it back to the Andrews team. That would have been dirty. Dirty. Keenan Allen, Debo, JT, Diggs. It's a nice start. These 4 wide receiver starts are interesting because you typically need value to fall to you at either tight end, QB, or if you go an elite QB or 2 middle round tight ends, and you need value to fall to you at running back. So it's very dependent on what the room gives you. And it's definitely not the typical start that we do because it forces you in one direction. It really does. Mike Willie goes at 41. I have Willie ranked in my head above Keenan Allen just for the spike weeks, but Nate's still rocking just one receiver. Zach still rocking just one receiver. Joe Burrow goes to the T. Higgins, Travis Kelce squad, though. But if he knew he was going to do that, I think this should have been a receiver. Just a personal preference. You're going T-Lon Ingram. Could. Jump in a BBM after this, Derek says. Yeah, maybe we will. We'll either do a chow or a BBM. We'll take a vote in the chat. Terry just seems like the guy in this range. Terry and Kirk. I like both of those picks. Calvin Ridley's still rising, which is interesting. It's making Kirk, at least in my mind, a better value play. And again, the one spot goes elite receiver, elite QB, elite running back. Also has the Buffalo New England stack for week 17. Brings in Terry, brings in Christian Kirk. It's like the one spot so strong. So strong. TJ Moore goes at 50. So that's more around the range that he should be going instead of this 46. And you can see he's falling still. He's still currently falling. And I believe that's like the good spot for him. Right after Kirk, right after Terry, before Pittman. All right. It looks like we're getting running backs. Looks like we're getting running backs to fall to us. It's exactly what we want. See JSN go early at 54. But that's what happens. You put yourself in that situation. If this was a wide receiver, if this was Cooper, which isn't my favorite, but Debo or Ridley, whoever you want, you don't have to reach here. Four running backs, one receiver. This guy's changing the whole board, in my opinion, by doing that. Chris Godwin goes off. Now it's getting dry at receiver, which that's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm hoping for. I'd love to bring. Oh, yeah. I agree with this pick, especially. I think there's a tier drop off. Mixing off the board. Give me any of these three, basically. Green Bay correlation with Watson. I think that makes sense. Yeah. And we get falling running back value after starting four receivers, just like the kiss of death. Beautiful. Let's go. We get one of these two. I've been mixing it up with both of these running backs as well. I've been going a lot of Dobbins because I've been getting a lot of Lamar. So if Sanders falls, we'll take Sanders. Tyler Lockett, reach up. Sweet. Values on running back, just like we planned it. Just like we planned it. Yeah. We knew ER7 says we saw a lot of teams go two running backs at first, and that means they need receivers. So how do we gain that advantage on the back end of the draft? You steal the receivers. You dry it up. We have a double elite QB start. I mean, it's expensive. It's expensive. When you only have one receiver, expensive. We'll see what this team looks like at the end. From Zach, 789er. Short Gamer brings in their first running back in Swift. A little Philly correlation. And really, the only team we have to worry about being in the 11th spot is 12, right? That's the only team we have to look at when we're making our decisions with this first pick. Can we push another player to 86 and secure a guy without worrying about sniping us? Easier to do with better drafters. So it's kind of tough to tell when he goes Mahomes at 13 that we can trust this player to make the right choice. Zach just hates receivers, so just refuses to draft receivers. And you get stuck in this zone right here where if you're going value at like QB or tight end, you get stuck where the wide receivers really dry up. And then I think you can really skip this range here, which is what we're seeing ER7 do. And you can bring in some of these speculative guys like Treylon Burks is wide receiver one on his team. Tony's just probably the biggest mystery box player in this range. Dotson, Cooks, Gabe Davis. We'll see what happens with Hopkins, but I don't think it absolutely kills his value as just being the deep shot guy. Love Stars is predicting a reach on Dak. Don't do it. That's dirty. That's dirty. We see Cooks go at 70. 6. But he has to know Dak's not making it back to 93, right? We'll see. We'll see what our team looks like. I'm cool with smashing. Oh my God. Trevor Lawrence at 77 is beautiful. I probably would have taken a naked Trevor Lawrence if I was these teams, and then just try to figure it out with like Zay Jones. It's just such a crazy value. Trevor Lawrence at 77. Dotson off the board. So here we go. This is wide receiver dead zone, basically. Like it's just dry. The board's dry. And they're still going off the board. This guy has 2 receivers. He basically has to take Zay Flowers here or Bateman. It just puts you in such a bad situation. Flowers off the board. I'm cool with going tight end. I'm cool with going running back. We can go double QB. There's a lot of options now that we double tapped. Let's go running back here. Let's go with Connor. And then even if Dak gets sniped, like I'm cool with one of these 3, to be honest. So we're going to bring in Dak. So we're building around this Detroit-Dallas game. He goes Cam Akers and Evan Ingram. Still only has 3 receivers in the 12 spot. This team only has 3 receivers. We have 4, but it was our first 4 picks, so we're still very, very strong. And now we can put off running back for quite a while, too, having Jones, Sanders, and Connor. All 3 bye weeks are different as well, which is a small bonus, in my opinion. Dak, let's see what's our next. Our pick is at 107. 107 and like what, 110 and then 131. Can we push Goff? Probably not. We'll see who comes back to us. Waller at 90 is really nice. That's really, really nice. Bateman goes off the board at 91. I like that. I like that. Especially going that elite tight end. You have to catch up on wide receiver and you have to catch up fast. So I think Nate's doing a really good job. And gets the correlated KC game. Seeing Richardson fall a lot to like 94. It's been pretty common the last 2 days. Montgomery off the board to the Gibbs team, which is interesting. I don't think it's a no-no. Elijah Moore off the board at 96. So they're building up their wide receivers. I think there's a few teams here that have really good wide receiver rooms. And then there's like 3 teams, 4 teams that are really struggling at wide receiver. Like Zach with 2. NFL Blitz with 3. You don't want to have just 3 receivers through 9 rounds. It's tough. I'm expecting ER7 to go receiver here. It's just, yeah. He goes best available, which is Njoku. I agree with that. I'd probably do the same thing. It's just being in a tough spot. This Dalvin pick at 69. Like Dalvin, I have as a riser. If he declares that he's back in Minnesota, he's going to rise. He's going to rise probably like 20 picks. But I'm probably selecting Marquise Brown here, who's also a riser in my eyes. And just knowing that wide receiver dries up in this range. And you already have an elite tight end, but you're done at tight end. We'll see how he shapes it at the end. But guys, if you're new in here, drop a sub, hit the bell for notifications. You can jump in these live drafts with us. Join the Discord, which is in the description. It's just so many good talks going on. Draft grade section for your channel. Just drop your drafts in there. Get graded by the pounders in the chat. Always fun. Always fun to see people's different builds. Kamara off the board. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can't. Let me think. Yeah, I'm just so the problem is like I probably want Jordan Love here, right? Not at this pick, but for this team. I have a pick at 134 and I have a pick at 155 and his ADP's in the middle. So it just really doesn't work. And you want another middle round tight end or QB for Dak team unless you're going to go with 3 QBs. I believe we can stop at 2 right here unless we get a crazy falling value. I think that's fine as well. Between Robinson and Penny, this is just a good range to select a running back. Freiermuth, we could go as well. Pittsburgh. Let's go with Brian Robinson. And Nate goes was sweating with Brees as my third, but weird wide receiver room. I think I was able to recover somewhat. Yeah, you did. You did. Where are you? Kelsey, T. Higgins, Brees Hall, Joe Burrow, and then you slam wide receiver, which you did catch up. Charbonnet. So you have your 2 running backs. We'll see if you draft your handcuff. Curious, is there a world in which you may need the handcuff just to push your lineup forward? It's so early for Brees Hall, right? You got 3 months, so it's not the biggest deal that he's not practicing yet. In some of these running back rooms, like handcuffing, it all depends on your mindset. Like AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones, one of them can go off 1 week, one of them can go off the other. I don't think it's the craziest thing to handcuff those running backs because maybe one has a super low advance rate. Like, and who's going to have it would be the higher priced running back would be Aaron Jones. Another one would be CMC and Elijah Mitchell. Let's say Elijah Mitchell has the 2 touchdown week, and because CMC is so expensive, he's a first round pick. If he busts and does 12 points that week, maybe he has a super low advance rate into week 17. You push your lineup forward with a big week from Elijah Mitchell, amongst others, and then CMC has a blow up week 17. I think there's some running back rooms like that it makes sense. I don't think it makes sense for the Jets, but this is so far hyper fragile from Nate. I consider it hyper fragile with Brees Hall. Elijah Mitchell off the board at 121. This is like Mitchell is the price of Alexander Madison last year for BBM. He's a little less. I think he's a little less expensive, but in my opinion, he's in a much better situation. Like run first offense where Minnesota added the new OC last year that was pass heavy, and we knew that was going to happen because it was flaunted everywhere. Justin Jefferson even told us on Twitter. So I do like Mitchell in this range. He just has high upside handcuff. He should have a role no matter what throughout the years. Just change of pace running back. Just all good things. All good things. Let's see what you guys leave us here on the table. Gallup went at 124. That's pain. That's pain. That's a ER7 still bringing in the Dallas players. Oh man. I don't mind slamming 2 tight ends, bringing in another QB, and then making this a 3 tight end team anyways. We're pretty elite at running back. We're pretty elite at wide receiver. Yeah, we need to add receivers, but this is probably a 7 wide receiver room. So I'm not panicking yet on receivers. I like Alec Pierce. Nico Collins is okay, but on the way back around 162-ish, I think we can make stuff work. I'm cool with getting one of these 2 tight ends. If they both go, we'll go Cole Kmet, but I doubt that's going to happen. Another reason, sneaky reason why I did that is because there's teams going double elite QBs. This team took 3 of them. So teams are really going to struggle at QB. It also gives us, I think, really good upside. And we're done, obviously, at QB. We need to add a couple best ball guys, as I like to call them, at the end of this draft. And we have a few in mind. We'll see who falls to us. And then we need to do 3 tight ends, 6 running backs. So a 3, it's going to be 3-3. So could be 5 running backs. I think we could stop at 5, depending who our next running back is. We could either stop at, it's going to depend. We're going to go best available, basically. If I get 2 receivers I like, I'll stop at 6 receivers. We're not going to stop at 5. That's way too thin. Way too thin. But if we get the players that I have in mind, we can stop at 6. Bry H says, damn, you was expecting Goff to come back to me. ER7 says, maybe because I'm a Cowboys fan, but honestly, I think Cowboys are going to score 30, 40 points every game. If Dak can get back to where he was in 2021, I mean, I think people forget the year that he put up. Absolutely insane season. He was dealing with injuries last year. All over the place. I mean, Schultz was out for multiple games. They couldn't get on the same track until the end of the season, where then he had two touchdown games. So I think he'll split the difference somewhere, probably end up with like 3,800 yards, probably like 27, around 27 touchdowns, 28 touchdowns. Could flirt with 30 very easily. So I like Dak this year, especially at his ADP. And then you add the playoff schedule, you add the week 17 matchup against Detroit, and yeah, I'll be overweight on Dak for sure. Jalen Warren at 147. Chark Staffy goes. Higbee Staffy stack as the second QB. I think that's nice. Got Kincaid and Higbee. I think that makes sense as well. Dobbs off the board. Mostert off the board. Khalil Herbert at 139. Super, super nice for the team that really puts off running back. To get a falling value like that's sweet. Good scoop. Good scoop. Nate's got his huge spoon out, just scooping value. Jalen Hyatt off the board. Could have been one of our interests with Danny Dimes. A lot of teams with just one QB. A lot of teams with just one QB. Love that. Love that. Make them all nervous, you know? Is there a tight end here that I have to have, like Sam Laporta? Do I have to have him? I think I'd rather just go double receiver here. I think I'd just go double receiver. Yeah, so Love missed us by one pick. It's hilarious. He is Mahomes. Let's go Van Jeff. Let's go Van Jeffy. Scantling off the board. Johnson off the board. And we're bringing in Rashid Shaheed. All right, we're done at receiver. Got the guys I wanted. We have consistency with Lamb and Amon-Ra. You have D-Hop, who speculative ad could finish as a top 12 receiver. Off the board as receiver 22. So with that in mind, with this narrative for this team in mind, I don't feel the need I have to go 7 receivers. I think 6 is just fine. Christian Watson for spike weeks, Van Jeffrey for spike weeks. Same thing with Shaheed. These are just best ball guys. Pick 179er. Let's see who we got in that range. Again, we're going to need 2 tight ends. It does dry up fast. And 2 tight ends and 2 running backs. Sweet. I think it's gonna pair up just nicely. All right. Where are we at on the like machine? 15. If we get to 23 likes, we'll do another one. We'll do another draft after this one. We'll set it at 23 likes. Thank you, Eric B. Says the team's looking good. Yeah, definitely. We'll take a peek at some of these other teams at the end and we'll see how it compares. But we're very strong at QB. Very, very strong. Strong at receiver. Our tight ends, we'll see. We'll see who we end up with. But you have to be weak somewhere, especially like we talk about when you start 4 receivers. It's actually tougher to balance out than most people think. It's very easy to overdraft receivers when you start 4 in a row. And you basically have to take what comes to you too, being on the end of the draft. We were just lucky that it was running back value that slid to us. It's exactly what we needed. We could stop potentially at 5 running backs. Depending on the person, like I think you could stop at 5 running backs if you had a favorite, maybe like a Gus Edwards to provide like weekly consistency, or maybe an upside player, a number 2 type handcuff. Jones, Sanders, Connor, Brian Robinson, and 1 more running back. I don't think it's too thin. I think it's on the border. But where would we spend that extra pick, right? At receiver? And then who are we drafting that's going to spike into the lineup? Like, I like Mechie in this range. I like Tyquan Thornton, but I think it's better spent at running back where you're going to get those spike weeks from injuries in these backfields. And I think you end up getting more points that way. And I think it's the higher upside play as well. Short Gamer TV still only has 1 QB. Goes Mayor. This is funny. Texas banner. 10 seconds left on the clock. Puts it up. Goes down. Gets him at a good price, too. 177. We have to reach up. We can't risk it. Need Conklin here. Same bye week, so can't draft a 7 again. Man, Giuseppe's just so gross, in my opinion. It's so gross. I think we could think on it. Let's go running back here, which, shit. Not going Chuba. I don't mind Jerome Ford, too, playing behind Chubb. Tomato. Let's go Gus Edwards here. Playing behind Dobbins. We just got to reach up and get our guys at this point. We have 2 picks left, and one's going to be a tight end because it has to be. Can we stop at 5 running backs? Let me know in the chat. Would you guys stop at 5 running backs with this build? And with that in mind, this team would be a 4 tight end team, which is so gross for 18-round teams. I don't like that at all. I'd rather just say Conklin scores a shit ton of touchdowns with Rodgers. Schultz is a top 2 favorite target for the rookie. Eric B says he's mixing in Giuseppe. I can't. For whatever reason, I can't make the click on Giuseppe. But we're at 17 likes, 23 likes. We're going to pop off another one. This is a $50 Chow Chow underdog draft. 50K to first, 25K to second. Stroud off the board. So Gamer gets their second QB. I'm interested to see how these teams turned out. Because this was a weird room. This triple elite QB team is part of the reason why we selected Goff. Jimmy goes here at 181. That's good value. That's just good value. And they have Adams to pair up with Mahomes. Like, I like that a lot. Seems like Jimmy G and Desmond Ridder, really, really good values right now at the end of these drafts. Claypool off the board. I think it's an interesting pick with the Mooney news that he's still injured. Kyron Williams, draft winner. But, I mean, we'll see who it is. This is one of those, like, Zach Evans or Kyron Williams, who's going to be the number 2 behind Akers. Lenny. Now, this is my prediction for Lenny. If this happens, it's the perfect spot. If Lenny ends up in Cleveland, guaranteed to catch 50 balls, like guaranteed, what a spot if he ends up in Cleveland. They move on from Hunt. I mean, you move on from one dusty run back, you bring in another. I don't know. There's a clear need for a pass-catching running back. They drafted McIntosh. Not McIntosh. Who'd they draft? They drafted a rookie with like their 6th round pick. They have Felton there. Maybe I was thinking McIntosh in Seattle. Seattle just wouldn't stop drafting running backs. Texas still has 1 tight end, Sam Laporta. I think that's super thin. Super thin. Goes Giuseppe. We'll see. I'm guessing their last pick has to be a tight end. Like, it has to be, right? And then your 2 QBs are Carr and Murray. Like, I'm sorry. They paid the rake. A lot of these teams paid the rake. So we're going to go through real quick and just identify who paid the rake. What's up, Davis? What's going on, my dude? Trey McBride, sneaky draft winner in Arizona. Sneaky draft winner. Let's bring him in. Let's bring him in. I think he has to rise a little bit. I mean, I have him in front of Gesicki personally. And running back, we're just going off basically one of these guys. I'm mixing in these players pretty much. Let's go for James Robinson, another year removed from the Achilles. Is it gross? Let's go Israel Banaconda. Still have reports that Breece Hall is hurt. I think it's just a little speculative ad. Even if he misses, like, we're still good at running back. So we'll shoot for upside. We do have the pairing with the Jets too. Little coin flip there. Nate says he loves McBride too. Yeah, it just seems like a really good ad, like 18th round, 17th round guy right at the fringe there. Like basically free. We'll take a peek at some of these teams. We're 2 likes away from popping into another draft. 2 likes away. I like this pick right here. I don't see anyone make this pick, and especially if you're going to pair it with whoever you think is going to start in Tennessee. But give me guys that are going undrafted that still have roles. He's the wide receiver too in Tennessee. I mean, it's not a team that we think is going to have a high passing volume, but he's on the field. It could happen. He plays Houston twice in the playoffs, and look, you get the Houston correlation. So with Stroud, I like that. I like that a lot. I like to see these little big brain plays, you know? We give the respect where it's due. Davis says, I tapped James Robinson. All you need is 1 touchdown, 40 yards. I know. I don't mind. I really don't mind James Robinson. The writing's sort of on the wall for Pierre Strong. He got 10 carries last year. Damian Harris was hurt for half the season. So take a quick look at these teams. 2 QBs. We're cool with these. We're cool with these tight ends. I think that's fine. And running backs and receivers are good. This team's fine. They have a chance. Brian, Hurts, and Young. I like the pairing. Tight ends are fine. Get Freiermuth at a value a little bit. Gibbs at 47, which is where I think he should be going. Running backs I'm cool with. Maybe a little light on the RBs. It'll depend on Gibbs. And the receivers are super strong. Maybe Marvin Jones could have been a running back. Maybe you could have stopped at 7 here. But I like the team. Richardson and Kirk's fine. Tight ends are fine. That team's fine. ER7, Deshaun, Trey Lance, Purdy. Solid group. I'm interested. Are we drafting this for the hopes that, Trey Lance gets traded and now you got 2 starters? Curious. I like the Njoku pick. There's just no receivers there that I was interested in. So I think that's smart there. You stop at 2. Running backs check out. And wide receivers, I'd say you're very strong. Zach, I think this team paid the rake. 3 elite QBs. I mean, pretty strong at tight end too. Running backs I like. Oh, shoot. These receivers have to be disgusting. They have to be. Cup, Sutton, Mooney, Dobbs, Samuel, Robert Woods, and Tim Patrick. Yeah. This has to be a receiver. And this team probably looks pretty freaking good. Nate, Burrow, and Geno Smith. Kelsey and Jelani Woods. Love that. Hall, Charbonnet. You get Herbert 16 picks after when you go in 0 RB. That's beautiful. You bring in both Miami running backs. I think that's interesting. We'll see if A-Chain kind of completely knocks one of them out of the rotation. Higgins, JSN, Deontay Johnson. Yeah, I like the receivers. Really nice receiver room. A lot of my guys in there. 3-5-8-2. Cool with these QBs. Cool with the tight ends. Cool with the running backs and the receivers. probably a little not as great. Short Gamer TV, two late QBs to pair up with Tua. Andrews and Mayer, I think that's fine. Same bye week. It's not the biggest deal, but Swift, Javonte Williams, Devon A. Chain. Yeah, I like this running back room. I like Singletary as well at the end. Just get a guy that has a guaranteed role to go along with these two rookies. Give them a chance to find their role in their offense. And the receivers are strong. Texas, Carr, and Murray. I think this team paid the rake for sure. This team paid the rake. Billy 2493. Let's go right to the running backs. Are we cool with just these four? I guess you could advance. If Joe Mixon has like a RB2 type season, White can have an RB2, RB3 type season. Jamal Williams falls into the end zone 10 times. Yeah, you can get through. Lamar and Love. I like that pairing. Pitts, likely. I like the tight ends and the receivers. I mean, at least you have a lot of, like, this team has a lot of best ball guys that can pop into the lineup. Wendell Robinson for late season upside. I think that's cool. Yeah, it's an interesting build with four running backs. Interesting build. Another one. Two teams, and they got four tight ends. I'm going to hate this. Mahomes and Jimmy. The running backs, I think, are fine. Do we think P. Ryan's going to have the same role at the end of the season that he has at the beginning? Probably not, unless there's an injury, a re-injury to Javonte Williams. Wide receivers are okay. 3 receivers on KC. Yeah, you could have stopped at 3 tight ends. And then Noah Fant for me would have just been a speculative running back ad, or maybe even Irv Smith, 17 picks before ADP. Maybe that's where you go running back. I'd like this team a little more if they had that. All right, let me know in the chat. What do we want to see? What do the people want? Do we want BBM or Chow? Who wants to do a BBM? Who wants to do a Chow? Let us know in the chat. ER7 doing the Lord's work. 24 people watching. Hit the like button. Smash it. Just break the mouse. It'll be worth it. Chow or BBM? Who wants to jump in? Chow. Eric B says Chow. Whatever one gets to 3 votes first is what we're doing. Chow is the $50 entry. BBM is the $25. I kind of want to do a Chow again. The chat is all listeners today. Okay, that's it. 2. And I just voted. We're doing a Chow. We're jumping in. We're waiting on one person. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Give us on the front half now, not the 6. Anything but 6, actually, would be a nice. All right, we get 4. We get 4. Some of these names look familiar. Texas was in our last draft. Texas, let me know if you're in the live chat. Zach was in our last draft. Fast Willie is now in the back end. He was in our last draft. Kid Prosper looks familiar. Ketchup Stain looks familiar. If you guys have made it in this one, let me know in the stream. Let me know if you are in the room. But the 4 spot, I kind of hate when it's like this. When it goes Jefferson, Chase, Hill, we go CMC. I'd rather Hill at the 4. See what Gordito does. A lot of badges. Maybe they're fancy golf guys. This might be, I think we have just a couple people in this draft. So picking from the 4, we're worried about 3, 2, and 1. That's all I care about on the swing back around. That's really all we have to. You kind of have to pay attention to the right side of the board too when you're drafting QBs and tight ends and you're trying to push players. Trying to push them an extra round. Seeing if, maybe these guys already have Most of these teams have QBs. You're trying to push a QB to an extra round. Stuff like that. Stroke season. That's not good. Dink piece. Cactus. Clean username. Just cactus. Strange. I'd rather the 4 spot than 6. When you're left with Kelsey Robinson, I'm typically going Diggs or AJ Brown there at 6. CMC off the board. Hill, welcome to the team. Ches, welcome to the live stream. What's going on, Ches? Yeah, Davis agrees. 6 is painful. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good at 6. There's just too much pressure on Kelsey. Just not even, he could have a great season. But if the tight end 2 has a great season and can close that gap, the value of the tight end 2, depending where they go, is going to be insane. So we'll see if D-Hop goes to KC. I think we're already talking in the Discord, which is the link is in the description. A lot of fantasy football talk going on 24/7 from the sickos. If Hopkins does land in KC, I'm pushing Kelsey to the back end of the first, like this 12-13 turn. Pushing all these receivers basically in front of him, in my opinion. Chez says, haven't been able to get a Pounders draft in a minute. The off season is still young, my friend. It's still young. We sort of slowed up our draft schedule a little bit because the youngin turning 8 weeks tomorrow, 2-month birthday. Yes, the wifey does photos on the month by month basis. This is my life now. Garrett Wilson and Amon-Ra. I like the pairing. We see actually all 4 of these wide receivers go off before Adams. Whoa, and JT. Okay. All right. How far is he going to fall? Adams, AJ Brown would be relatively different, in my opinion. AJ Brown doesn't typically fall to 11, but I do think you're going to see Adams start to fall a little more now. So get the news that Jimmy's hurt. It's just enough. It's just enough. Ben with the wrench, welcome to the live stream, my man. What's going on, dude? Oh, it is beautiful today. It is beautiful. After this, I'm going to take the dog for a walk. Take the kid for a walk. See, Josh Allen go at 18. Chubb goes at 17. Double RB start here. Double RB start here. Something to keep in the back of the head. These teams need to draft wide receivers here. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We're going to get some wide receiver value falling to us. Miami plays Baltimore. Philly plays Arizona, week 17. Oh, man. Same thing. When I say the W word around the wifey, like, hey, do you want to go on a... We have to spell it out like it's a kid because he knows. He knows the word. He'll run right to the door and that's it. Like, we're going on the walk. He's running around upstairs. You probably heard me. Mahomes at 23 to the Chase squad. I like that start. I like that a lot for the week 17 correlation. Henry goes off at 24. Okay. All right. Let's see who we get. Let's see. I'm excited. I'm excited. We can do anything in this range. This is my This is where I have it right now. This guy shouldn't be going QB. He doesn't. I did want either Higgins or Jalen Hurts the most. And we do get Jalen Hurts to fall to us at 28. Will Devonta Smith, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Hurts start? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Are you Tyreek or Cup once JJ and Chase are off the board? I like Tyreek, but I'm going Cup before CMC as well. I'm kind of trading off. Like, I want my Cup exposure to be probably around 8%. I want my CMC exposure probably around 5 or 6, just because I'm putting Hill in front of CMC, and then I'm trading off. It all depends what sort of draft I'm doing too. These $50 drafts, I'd rather just get my receivers. Gonna have that higher advance rate. Wrench fight. Wrench fight. You guys are sick. You guys are sick. You get a wrench. You get a wrench. You get a wrench. Hurts in round 3 is crazy. Yeah, this one feels good already. This one feels good already. We could go like a Tua and be done, or we could just push it super, super late. And I think that's fine too. We can grab a Pickett. We can grab, probably not Jimmy, like Desmond Ritter. We can go late with it. And I think Ritter's like a good value too. And the other thing, like when the QBs were going in the second round, like the middle of the second, like Allen went here, I felt like it was best to go one QB at that time. Like on the big board, the first tournament that opened, when they were going that early, it just felt like it made the most sense just because of the cost of the draft capital of where you selected them. Lamar goes off the board to the Lamb JT team. I like Texas Banter's start a lot more than his last start. That's for sure. We see another double elite QB team. You know what that does? It helps us. Love that. Love that. He's the guy that went 3 elite QBs last time, if you guys remember. So the fact that Hurts fell to us there is all the more. Just beautiful. See Mike Williams, then Keenan Allen. Very similar to last draft, except they were flip-flopped. Ches is at 20% Tyreek. That's insane. That's actually insane for a first-round player where you should only be getting them 8.6% of the time. Yeah, I didn't think D-Hop was going to fall to us there. 20%. But on how many drafts? I guess I should ask how many drafts. Artie, what's up, my man? Welcome to the live stream. I hope you had a good trip in Florida, dude. Saw you slaying beers right in front of the Magic Kingdom. Chess says probably slow that down a bit and switch to Cup. Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's a good idea. I like Judy here. I like Hopkins. These wide receivers are starting to slip off the board. And then Watson. So I wanted one of those 3. And then Terry goes. Now I'm just getting nervous that people are pissing. I'm like, I mean, I want to piss. Kirk. Do we get Kirk on the way back around? This is my thought process. Like, can we get Kirk or Drake London on the way back around? I think it's a risk where we can most likely get one of these running backs. That's where my thought process is at right now. That is where it's at. So we'll see what we get on the way back around. Moore off the board. Gibbs off the board. London off the board. Yeah, we weren't getting Kirk. There's no way. There's no way we were getting Kirk. And then we're sitting there with 2 receivers, 1 QB, 1 running back. And what are we doing? Bring in TJ Hawkinson? Nope, he's gone. So then what are we doing? Going double running back, and we have a 1-2-2 build, and you're just praying you get wide receiver value to follow you to here. I'd rather just make that 5-pick reach and grab Kirk. The Hawk. Godwin off the board. See, now that's a 7-8 pick reach. Walker goes, and we're going to bring in Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones, if we had a little, you could go Joe Mixon. Depends on your risk tolerance. I think Davis might go Joe Mixon there if he's sick enough. But I like Aaron Jones this season. I think Green Bay is going to heavily rely on the run. So I actually like him and Dylan. We're up in 15 picks, which is 69 and 76, which is a good range. We'll see. 69 and 76. Yeah, that's a fine range. 69 and 76. We have some running backs in here we like. We have some wide receivers we like. We could reach up for like a Waller at 76. That wouldn't be the craziest thing either. We got the base. We got the base down. So ER7 likes Drake London over Kirk. He says I might be wrong. I have Kirk over London. It's a close one, but I'm just thinking of the offense. Atlanta's going to run the ball like a lot. They ran the ball the most last season, and now they add Bijan Robinson. Sure. Will they be in the red zone more? We can make that inference. Is that good for London? Yes. I don't know. I think Kirk is going to prove to be a better number 2 than he was number 1. But yeah, I don't have a strong preference, I guess, on those two. London and Kirk, probably flip-flopping them on average. Let me check the exposures. The exposures will tell the story. Drake London 10%, Christian Kirk 13%. So yeah, that goes with my tail. 61 Marquise Brown. I mean, sure. He probably should be going at 61. You don't get any value from taking him that early, though. Kyle Pitts off the board at 62. Double elite tight end, followed with double elite QB. We'll see. We'll see if we get our guy. Look at these receivers. Just flying. Flying off the board. Flying off the board. Which we expected that from these two teams that started double RB. That's why we grabbed these guys in front. Sanders off the board. That's a nice little value there. It's a nice little value. Let's see what Ketchup Stain wants to do. Do. Reaches up for Burks. 5 picks. That's fine. We'll bring in Goddard here to correlate with Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith. And this team also has double elite tight end. So is this guy going to stop drafting tight ends? Is he going to stop drafting QBs? Like, who knows? He went crazy last draft. And these are $50 swings. This guy's taking $50 swings. He has 1 receiver through 6 rounds. What is happening? What is happening? So which teams can be down ER7 on the scoreboard more? The problem with that is Atlanta was down last year on the scoreboard and they were still running the ball, like down 17. So it's tough. Let's see what these teams want to do. And then our next pick is at 93. So I do like to look ahead and be like, all right, who's going to be in this range? It's a gross range. 93 is gross. 93 and 1 and 100. Davis off the board. That's fine. I think we're going to go Dotson here because we can slam a running back in this range or a second tight end, be done at tight end. But I think that's kind of a waste. People might want the Philly pick here. People might want the elite QB pick. But I think we just go Dotson. There's just going to be running backs that come back to us. Like, look at the board. You know what I mean? So I'm just kind of playing the room right now where I select an elite QB. I select a middle / elite tight end. You could say middle round 6. It's the top third of the board. Do we really want to have 3 receivers and we're not up for 15 picks and you're just at the mercy of the board, what they give you? You're hoping Bateman makes it back to you, like you're praying. Yeah, maybe in like a $7 poodle, I'll do that. I'll take my shot. I'll go best available. But Dawson was the best available receiver. So, and then you saw Cooks go right after, and that's a 7 pick reach. So you got to play the room. Yeah, Eric B says, I think Jacksonville will score more points this year. Yeah, 100%. I agree. More touchdowns will be thrown. If you guys haven't already, drop a like on the live stream. We got a 30-goal like. 30? Yeah. My brain. I need Kafifi, like really bad. I missed my morning coffee, and now it's 2 p.m., and we're in shambles. We're in absolute shambles. 2 chow chows in. 20% full. 1-1-1-1. That's got to be good luck. 10% rake. And this is the finals. Week 17 will be a 58-person final. 2 out of 12 advance for the qualifiers into week 15. Then you're putting an 8-team pod, 2 advance to week 16. You're putting an 8-team pod and 2 advance to week 17. So 25% chance. For weeks 1 to 14, it's like 16.7. Don't quote me. Don't quote me. Cortland Sutton off the board. Yeah, so look what we would have been given. So this team's sitting here with 3 receivers. They go Zay Flowers. I wanted Connor there, but he gone. Richardson off the board. Not interested. Not even allowed to look at QBs right now. Let's see what he does. Goes Prescott. We'll gladly bring in Rashad White. We're talking 14 picks after ADP. Ba-bing. Beautiful. A little falling value at running back. Just goes right into the pocket. Get this man. I know. If I had coffee, it wouldn't be a good thing. Probably be worse. We're up in 5 picks. I think we We have options, right? We can go receiver in JMO. He gone. We can go tight end. We can go running back again. Is anyone drafting Michael Thomas? Who keeps drafting Michael Thomas to give him this ADP of 93? Where are you? I don't know. I can't. I can see on some teams, right? Like if you have 3 receivers at this point instead of 4, maybe you're like, all right, this is the team. I need Michael Thomas to be a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 borderline. Like, sure. It might make sense for that team. But goddamn, it takes a lot for me to make that click. It takes a lot. It's a busy offense too. It's a busy offense with Derek Carr as the quarterback. Williams off the board. This team's got a 0-3-5 start. Really nice. I like this team. Goes A-Chain. Interesting. Who's Seattle play week 17? They play Pittsburgh, Tennessee. Let's go Charbonnet. I don't have a ton of Charbonnet in my portfolio, so adding him in a $50 draft feels pretty good. Could go tight end there as well and be done at tight end with Ingram or Njoku. I don't think that's egregious. I just like this range for running backs. Especially we didn't pick our first running back until round 5? Yeah, round 5. End of round 5. Beginning. Yeah. So the running backs dry up pretty quick. I like to get out of this range with 3. So we're up in 11 picks. 117 and 124. The teams in front of us, one doesn't have a QB. This team doesn't have any tight ends. This team doesn't have any tight ends. This team has 1 QB and 2 tight ends. Something to keep an eye on. Definitely need to add receivers, but we don't want to force it. Everyone's reaching right now, and we're either selecting at ADP or we're scooping some values. We're staying balanced. We do need to add receivers, but let's see who comes back to us. This is a super fast draft, by the way. This is super fast, which is nice. These two teams they double tap QB here. This team's got its 2. This team actually started drafting receivers. This team doesn't have a QB yet. Myers off the board. I do like Myers in that spot. 115. Ketchup stains up. The sip of water is like my poker tell. It's like the Oreo from Rounders. Mingo or Rice? Team Mingo or Team Rice? Be Team Mingo today. Damn, 34 likes. You guys are going to make me do another one after this. Holy smokes. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate the love. Are there any circumstances where you'd go a fourth QB? No. Reason being, even if you do make it to week 17, you have 3 dead roster spots, right? And it's not technically 3. It is technically 1, though, on other teams that have 3 QBs. You'd rather those be positional players and you hit on, one of your top 3 QBs. Now, 4 tight ends. If you're going to do 4, if you had to do 1, right, QB or tight end to have 4, Tight end makes more sense because one can fit into the flex. I still don't like it. Basically limit yourself. Super balanced build. We can go any which way we want. We could scoop Rice if he's there. We can do any of this, basically. We can even go Chiggy if we wanted to. This is sort of what I'm looking at. Yeah, 4 QB is not optimal at all. It's going to depend. Like, if we're talking about 20-round drafts, like early on the big board, you're going 4 super late QBs, it makes a little more sense. But in 18-round drafts, no. I think I have to get out of here with the running back. I don't mind Gibson. We'll go Gibson. Don't fumble the ball in preseason. I think he had 2 fumbles last preseason. I was like, here we go again. Here we go. Sorry says I agree. I've only done it on a couple 49ers build where he got Lance and Purdy. I think your mindset for drafting should be, and it's going to depend on risk tolerance. And maybe in a draft where there's only 5,500 people, it makes more sense to grab both. But I still think that limits your upside because only one can be on the field. Only one can be on the field scoring points. So would you rather half the lineups be dead and then half not be, just selecting them once per team? I think that's the way to go. If I look at my Purdy and my Trey Lance shares, that's what I do. And they're pretty much split. Like I have 5% Lance and my Purdy shares are probably around 5%, 6%. I think they fit on different builds. Like if you don't have any of the pass catchers, I'm more willing to go Trey Lance. Or if you just have one of the pass catchers, but if you have both, maybe those are the lineups that I go Purdy. Gallup's off the board, right? Yeah, Gallup went off the board at 125. I didn't think he'd make it back to me at 141, but he had the ADP of 140, so I had to try. Man, I liked when everyone wasn't drafting Gallup and I was just getting me at 170 and everyone thought I was crazy. It's funny how much sharper these ADPs are getting this early into the season. So those running backs do fly off the board, which is good. That's what we wanted. This team only has 2 running backs, but it's a pretty good base. This team is 3. It's a really good base. This draft seems to be a little better balanced. DJ Chark off the board at 135. Yeah, please take him. Komet off the board. That's his second tight end. Carr off the board. And I think this is the perfect team to just go like a late Sam Howell. We have 2 Washington players. Maybe we grab a late Curtis Samuel. Call it a day. Dobbs. Sweet. So we're getting one of the 2. I'm cool with this. 6 receivers. Give me either or. I wouldn't be mad with Alec Pierce. I wouldn't be mad with Rice. Reaches up and grabs Warren. 13 picks after ADP. We end up getting both. I think that makes us kind of different in a way to get both of these players that are in the same range as well. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. Now we do have to add another receiver to this team. You have 2 rookies, typically start slower, but we're pairing them with, players that have roles and should be relatively consistent. So I think it makes a lot of sense. And we're up in 5 picks. Forgot about that. Let's go. We might get Alec Pierce too. That'd be a dream. Or maybe we pivot to tight end. I hate how it says like there's a write-up, but you click on it and there's nothing. We could pivot. Pivot. Zig and zag. This team go Osborne. They have the mega stack with Minnesota. I mean, at some point, like this team has dead roster spots, right? Like week 17, great job. You made it. You now have 5 players, literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players on Minnesota. Not all of them are going to spike into the winning lineup. So you have dead roster spots. You're at a disadvantage rather than just trying to spike on maybe Jefferson and Osborne, maybe Hawkinson and Jefferson, or maybe it's a running back game and you have Cook and whatever. We get Alec Pierce here too. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, I like that. I think we could be finished at wide receiver now. And it's only be a 2 QB team. Depending on my next tight end, it could be 2 tight ends. Most likely will be pushed to 3. And running backs, we need 6. Sort of where the math is at. Sorry says I had 3 dead roster spots in my BBM 3 final team last year. Is definitely the difference between me finishing 30th and winning it all. It's only 23 points behind Korean's team. Yeah, I had multiple dead roster spots on some of my finals teams. We had 5 finals teams total last year and only did like 150 total tournaments. And this year we passed that in March. I was mostly cash game last year, but after doing 156 drafts last season for tournaments and 400 for cash and having a 36% advance rate, it was like, all right, it's time to make the change. It's time to make the change. Let's go after the big bucks. Happy Gilmore. Give me the big check. I don't care. I'll take that big one. This is the puppy 4. I finished like 117th and Jalen Hurts was out. Derrick Henry was out. Like there was no sweat at all. Like I knew I wasn't coming to the top in that. We came in 11th or something in a super flex, but no top 5, no top 10 finishes, 111. But you can't really expect to when you're only doing like 150 drafts. You're lucky if you make 2 lineups into the finals. Irv Smith's falling here. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't go a falling Irv Smith here. Doesn't have Goff for Sam Laporta. Not that you can't go a naked Sam Laporta, but your first tight end being a rookie, I don't know, not my favorite thing to do. Yeah, he goes Irv Smith. If he didn't, I think we were going to scoop him. We'll go Tank Bigsby. We got really good draft capital. We don't have ETN because I don't think that makes sense. I think to unlock his full upside, you need an injury to ETN. Different bye week, which is a bonus. Bonus. Is Dobbs not the clear number 2? Or you think Reed passes him? I think they play different positions. Like, I don't think he didn't really pass my eye test last year, Dobbs. He was kind of all over the place. He was hurt too. Watson, they were rookies. They looked like rookies. Rodgers was pissed. It was a weird year, and now you're going to have a new quarterback come in. I'd rather take Reed at his ADP than Dobbs at his ADP. Dobbs at 137 or Reed 2 rounds later. Give me Reed. Interesting. I think if we go running back here, we're done. I don't want to bring in another rookie. We're up in 15. We're up at 189. Who's there at 189? Let's just reach up and grab Chuba. We're done at running back. I don't want to add a third running back that's a rookie to this team. Just give me someone that has a certain role. It's almost a full round reach, which is my maximum. I don't really like reaching over a round. Yeah. I think it just makes sense for this team where we already have 2 rookies that start slow. Wilson goes off the board. Hodgins. I mean, like, Miami, it's not like it's not the easiest click on any of the Miami running backs. It's 3 of them. You have to think they're going to cycle through all of them. I mean, it'll probably take an injury to unlock the most upside for 2 of those guys. And there's a report that A-Chain's putting on weight, which is expected. He came in so light to the combine. He's just trying to run a super fast 40. So it makes sense. I think he fell short a little bit of his goal. But he's still got the draft capital. Tajay Spears goes at 178. I like Tajay, like, a lot. There's multiple reasons to like him. I mean, what if Tennessee goes ahead and they trade Henry? That's hello, right? Hello, Riser. What if Henry gets hurt in the middle of the season? He'll still have to battle for the number 2 role with Haskins, but I think he's a better athlete than Haskins. One QB, maybe 2 tight ends. It's going to depend on who we think can make the biggest impact on the team. Do we think a tight end will, in that range, will be able to spike into our lineup more than the receivers that are available? That's what I'm going to be looking at. So it's going to depend who's there. But 1 QB and at least 1 tight end. This team still has 4 running backs. Might be a little light with the Kamara suspension. But you're basically starting Bijan and Chubb every single week. We definitely would have picked Hill there. Hill's such a good 3rd tight end. Now, on the same team as Juwan, does it work? I don't see why not. So for the listeners, we have Jalen Hurts, Aaron Jones, Rashad White, Zach Charbonnet, Antonio Gibson, Tank Bigsby, Chuba Hubbard, Tyreek Hill, Devonta Smith, Christian Kirk, Jahan Dotson, Jonathan Mingo, Rashee Rice, Alec Pierce, and Dallas Goedert. Ooh, Conklin gets sniped. That's a good snipe on Conklin. We will go the rookie here. And I think that's the difference of us having to go 2 tight ends or 3 tight ends versus 2 is Conklin, in my opinion. We're done at running back. Max Payne. Nice snipe by Ketchup here. Same bye week. I think he needs another tight end, not because of that, but because this isn't much draft capital at tight end. I'm also worried about Irv Smith. Like, I'm not drafting a ton of Irv Smith, especially we got him a fair amount after he made the switch over to Cincy. Do we just go a naked Trey Lance? We have the Sam Howell correlation. I guess we could go Jimmy too, now that we brought in Mayer. It's a little more thin. Let me know who do you guys want in this situation? Who do you like the best? I'm cool with any of these three. I think Trey Lance gives us the best upside. Like, you're expecting Sam Howell to just play 1 week, in my opinion. I think even Jimmy might have a little better spike potential than Sam Howell. Not that it's crazy. Eric B wanted Sam. Chez wants the mystery box. Let's go. We give him the mystery box. We give him the mystery box in Trey Lance, who we get 17 picks after ADP. Common faller because people don't know what to do with this team. But just as much as he's a common faller, he starts throwing the ball, or Purdy maybe re-injures his arm or whatever it may be, and he could rocket directly up the board. He could go at pick 90. If he's named the starter, he'll go before Anthony Richardson, which is nuts. We need one more tight end. Trey McBride, Jelani Woods off the board. Some of my faves in those 3 tight end builds. Hill, Smith, Kirk, Dotson, Jonathan Mingo, Rashee Rice, and Alec Pierce. It's going to be a rough week 10. I'll tell you that for free. It's going to be a rough week 10. We have Alec Pierce, Jonathan Mingo, Dotson, and Kirk. We're gonna take a little beating on week 10 here, so hopefully we have a good lead by then. And Goddard is out on week 10. That doesn't help. Because you need someone to flex. At least we have no running backs that have a week 10 bye. Jesus. I'm Jimmy or Sam over Lance all day, but I could be wrong. Yeah, I'm willing to risk it. We'll go with what I think is the highest upside guy there, and he's going 17 picks after. He could be a riser just as much as a faller. I mean, even if he starts behind Purdy, if Purdy re-injures his arm, and he's back. So it's interesting. I said it like 10, 15 minutes ago. I have like 7% or 6% Purdy and 5% Lance. You can make a case for both of them. In this case, we have no San Fran pass catchers. I think it makes more sense than going Purdy. Purdy. Oh, Hunter Henry's off the board. Really wanted Hunter Henry here. Now maybe I should have gone Sam Howell and Logan Thomas to tie it in a bow. Nah, that's gross. I think we're just going to have to go Noah Fant. And I hate Noah Fant. I despise the Noah Fant pick. Musgrave, it's just we're going to have 2 rookies. I don't like that either, to be honest. Jake Ferguson, no one knows what's going on in Dallas. Yeah. Let's go Ferguson. I just don't like the idea of having 2 rookies. I don't like the idea of Noah Fant when they add Charbonnet, when they add JSN to this offense. It's so busy. You have Metcalf, you have Lockett, you have JSN, you have Walker, you have Charbonnet. Like, Is there room for Noah Fant? He's not one of my favorite clicks. That's all. Jalen Hurts, Trey Lance. I mean, it doesn't get more upside at QB than that. I'm cool with the running backs. I'm cool with the receivers. I think this team came out pretty good. I think this was a pretty balanced room. If we just run through real quick. 3-5-7-2, 2-5-8-3, 2-5-8-3 again. Makes sense. We had a 2-6-7-3, 2-6-7-3 for catch up. 2-5. That's fine with those two. This might be a little thin at running back. Tight ends are strong though. 2-5-8-3 makes sense. Just looking for glaring mistakes. 3-5-8-2. Cool with that. He did snipe us on Hunter Henry. That's Max Payne. I'm going to remember that probably forever. You go double elite QB. They both have same bye week. Does it make you different? Maybe. A lot of receivers after only picking one through like 7 rounds. I don't love that. Correlates Bateman though. And Odell. Odell's a hard click for me. 3-5-7-3. So the 3-3s are typically hard builds to balance. Purdy 18 picks before ADP. Njoku, Higbee, likely strong at tight end. Running backs are fine. I like the running backs. Yeah, I like the receiver. I think this is actually a good job balancing this team. 12 spot, so it doesn't look as good, but that's that. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed those 2 drafts. I was just rapid firing. My brain is scrambled. Now I'm going to go have some coffee, go have some lunch, take the kid for a walk, take the dog for a walk. I appreciate everyone coming out. Drop a like on the way out the door if you haven't already, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Pounders.